Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, why does my face look different? Perhaps your jawline isn't as defined as it used to be, or the area beneath your chin has started to soften and lose firmness. This isn't unusual. In fact, it's a very natural part of aging when the skin gradually loses its elasticity and the muscles that once supported your face no longer hold the same youthful tension. For many women over 50, these changes don't just affect their appearance, but also how they feel about themselves. There are hairstyles that seem modern and youthful, but unintentionally make the face appear rounder, the neck shorter, and emphasize a sagging jawline. So if you're a woman over 50 wondering which hairstyle can both hide imperfections and highlight a sense of elegance and youthfulness, this video is for you. We'll point out the types of hairstyles to avoid if you're dealing with wrinkled necks or sagging skin and suggest simple yet powerful styles that can enhance your beauty, help you cheat time, and regain your natural confidence. When it comes to choosing a hairstyle, many people immediately think of fashion trends or personal length preferences. But for middle-aged and older women, picking the right hairstyle is not just about looking good, it's an art of balancing and guiding visual focus. A suitable hairstyle can make you look lighter, brighter, and more refreshed. On the other hand, an unsuitable cut might unintentionally draw attention to the very areas you wish to hide, like a sagging jawline, wrinkled neck, or a tired-looking face. The first and most important rule when choosing a hairstyle at this age is, where hair creates volume is where the eyes are drawn. If your hairstyle stops at the jawline, that's where people will look. If the hair is thick and heavy at the bottom but lacks lift at the crown, your face may appear weighed down and heavy. But if you know how to direct volume towards the cheeks, eyes, or crown, your whole face can be lifted in a natural, effortless way. Additionally, the shape of your face and the condition of your skin should be carefully considered. For rounder faces that have become fuller with age, your hairstyle should create diagonal lines to reduce width and elongate the face. For square faces, soft, curved lines help soften angles and create a more harmonious look. Sharp, straight cuts can unintentionally highlight facial features that have lost firmness over time. Another rule that's often overlooked: the length of your hair should flatter, not shorten your neck and shoulders. For example, a hairstyle that ends right at the jawline can make the neck appear shorter, especially for those with loose skin around the neck. Meanwhile, a slightly longer cut, or one that subtly angles forward, can elongate the neck and give an overall sense of grace and lightness. And don't forget the power of movements. Flowing layers add life and dimension to the face. Hair that's too blunt or stick straight can frame the face in a rigid way, lacking the fluidity and softness we desire. In contrast, lightly layered hair with gentle curves or subtle waves can redirect the viewer's gaze toward the eyes and cheeks, where your natural charm shines the brightest. Finally, don't let age become a limit to how you care for your appearance. Instead of sticking to a style just because you've always worn it that way, ask yourself, does this hairstyle make me feel more vibrant? Does it elevate my energy and spirit? Does it make me smile when I see my reflection? If the answer is nothing, maybe it's time to try something new, even if it's just a small change. Because the right hairstyle isn't just about looks, it's a gentle support for the inner beauty you've been building your whole life. Among the hairstyles that have remained favorites for women through the decades, the chin-length blunt bob always holds a special place. It offers a clean, modern look, full of fashion-forward elegance and refinement. However, this seemingly safe and ageless haircut can actually be a double-edged sword for women over 50, especially those beginning to notice changes around their jawline, chin, or neck. The main reason is the way this style ends abruptly right at the jawbone. On youthful, firm faces, this can accentuate a sharp jawline and create a dynamic appearance. But for faces beginning to show signs of aging, such as sagging jaws, a less defined chin, or wrinkled neck skin that crisp, blunt line can unintentionally form a frame that highlights exactly what you want to downplay. This is where visual perception kicks in. When the viewer's eye is drawn precisely to where the hair ends sat, the jawline, their attention naturally gets pulled to that area. And that often means their gaze ends up focused on the very things you're self-conscious about: sagging jowls, a double chin, or wrinkled skin. No one may say it out loud, but you looking in the mirror feel that attention sharply. And each time you see your reflection, instead of feeling confident, you might feel unsettled, self-conscious, or unlike yourself. But that's not all. The blunt bob also has a secondary side effect. It makes the neck appear shorter. By creating a horizontal cut right where the face meets the neck, it disrupts the natural transition between these two key areas. The face looks boxed in, and the neck almost seems to disappear. For women who are petite or have fuller figures, this effect only makes the overall appearance feel less refined. Another frequently overlooked factor is the emotional impact. When a haircut doesn't complement your facial structure, it can affect how you carry yourself. You may feel less confident, overly aware of others' gaze, and frequently wonder, do I look older? Or is this hairstyle still working for me? These thoughts, though subtle, can significantly influence your daily mood. So, it's not that the bob is the enemy of midlife, it's that the execution of the bob may no longer align with the face you see today. Hair isn't just for beauty, it's the frame for your expression, your aura, your energy. And if that frame is highlighting what you wish to soften, it may be time to consider a new version of the bow bone that's gentler, more refined, and gracefully embraces your age. The good news is, you don't need to break up with the bob entirely. Just a few adjustments can transform it into a style that is youthful, flattering, and fitting for the mature beauty you possess. Instead of a blunt bob that cuts off exactly at the jawline, try a slightly longer bob that falls naturally 2 to 3 centimeters below the chin. While this might seem like a small change, in reality, it creates a dramatic difference. By letting the length fall just past the sensitive area of the jaw and chin, your viewer's gaze is no longer locked into that zone. Instead, they perceive your face along a smooth, elegant line, which helps open up the neckline and makes the face appear slimmer and more balanced. This slightly longer bob also has a lengthening effect on the neck, which is especially helpful if you've noticed your neck looking shorter or developing lines. Aside from length, another important element is layering. The traditional blunt bob, with its single, straight cut, often feels heavy, especially at the ends where hair tends to bulk around the jawline. Instead, ask your stylist to add soft, subtle layers, particularly at the front. These layers don't have to be choppy or obvious, just enough to create movement. When placed skillfully, these layers help guide the eye upwards towards the cheekbones and eyes, your most expressive, glowing features. Another secret weapon is the side-swept bang. It's more than just a fashion detail, it's a highly effective facial lifting technique. A side bang divides the face at a diagonal, creating the illusion of length and lift. It also softens strong jawlines or wide foreheads, and naturally directs attention to the eyes and smile. For women with high foreheads or forehead lines, a side fringe offers gentle coverage without boxing in the face. Lastly, consider asking your stylist to incorporate a graduated front where the hair gently slopes longer toward the chin or collarbone. This subtle transition helps the hairstyle flow smoothly from the top of the head down to the neck and shoulders. It eliminates abrupt ends and introduces a soft, graceful shape to the bob. This tiny detail can do wonders in softening the cut, making it feel fluid rather than rigid. In short, the bob remains a fantastic choice as long as you're willing to have a dialogue with your current face. A bit more length, a few well-placed layers, a soft side bang, and a gentle slope. These combined details can produce a hairstyle that is elegant, delicate, and most importantly, honors your mature beauty in the most flattering way. As women step into their 50s and beyond, many feel the urge to refresh their look with a short hairstyle, something light, easy to manage, and liberating. Among these, the pixie cuda short, tidy, and cropped hairstyle has long symbolized boldness, youthfulness, and freedom from complexity. However, not every version of the pixie suits a face that is beginning to show signs of aging. In particular, ultra-short pixie cuts that hug the head, especially those trimmed close around the ears and nape, can bring about more aesthetic concerns than you might expect. The reason is that extremely short pixies completely expose areas like the jawline, chin, and neck precisely where sagging, wrinkles, or loss of firmness tend to appear. While longer hair can act like a soft frame that gently shields and supports the face, an ultra-short pixie strips away that protective layer. The hair seems to vanish from the face, leaving the features most touched by time fully on display. Another drawback is the visual impact of the sharp vertical lines created by tight pixie cuts, such as around the ears or the squared-off nape. These lines elongate the face vertically, but not in a flattering way. Instead of lifting the face, they often create the illusion of a drawn-down, sagging effect. Rather than a youthful, elevated look, the result is a face that appears narrower, more hollow, and with more emphasis on features like sunken cheeks, a sagging jawline, or a flat forehead, all the areas you might prefer to soften. From side or back angles, a nape that's been clipped too short can also make the neck appear shorter. The overall hairstyle may lack the gentle flow and curvature that give the head and neck a graceful line. The result? A neck and jawline that feel cut off, while the face loses its softness and fluidity. This is especially true for women with square face shapes or those whose lower face is broader than the upper, and ultra-short pixie will only highlight those imbalances. On an emotional level, this style can also make women feel exposed, not because of the lack of hair itself, but because of the lack of gentleness and coverage. There's no longer that comforting veil of hair brushing the cheeks or sweeping across the collarbone. Instead, you might feel bare, as though your features are left unguarded and your femininity muted. To summarize, the pixie cut is not the enemy, but how it's cut can either be empowering or overwhelming. Its strength lies in its sharpness, but for mature faces, that sharpness must be balanced with softness, curves, and the right volume. Hair should not just be a shape, it should be a tool to support and celebrate the face you have today. If you enjoy the lightness and freedom of a pixie cut, you don't need to give it up, you just need to refine it thoughtfully, transforming it from a challenging style into a perfect match for your current facial features. A well-designed pixie for women over 50 is not just short hair, it's hair that supports, softens, and harmonizes with the evolving contours of your face. The first adjustment? Keep a little bit of length around the ears and cheeks. You don't need much, just enough to let a gentle curve of hair touch the cheekbone or graze the edge of the ear. This small touch already makes a huge difference. Hair that hugs the sides of your face can subtly slim down the width, soften jowls, hide double chins, and restore balance to the overall silhouette. It also adds back the tenderness and femininity that may be lost in a harshly cropped pixie. Next, reconsider the nape of the neck. Rather than a blunt, squared-off cut that's trimmed close to the scalp, go for a tapered or rounded nape. Keeping a little more length here doesn't just elongate the neck, it also creates a graceful transition from the head to the shoulders. A slightly rounded cut will hug the base of the skull gently, masking any loose skin around the jawline with elegance. An essential feature of a face-lifting pixie is volume at the crown. When the hair is gently lifted at the top, it naturally draws the eye upward, creating a subtle facial lift. This also helps rebalance the visual weight between the lower part of the face, which can feel heavy or sagging, and the upper part, forehead and eyes, resulting in a more open, refreshed appearance. Ask your hairstylist to create layers at the crown or simply blow dry with a round brush to add soft lift. Don't forget the power of bangs, specifically side-swept bangs. These help reshape your facial proportions diagonally, softening a high forehead and drawing attention to the eyes and cheeks instead of the chin or mouth. When the fringe ends near the cheekbones or outer corners of the eyes, it pulls focus to your smile and your gaze two of the most radiant features of a mature woman. Lastly, ask your stylist to avoid harsh lines and instead create soft, graduated curves. For example, a slightly sloped front that blends into longer layers around the cheek and jaw can make the entire cut feel harmonious and gentle, not rigid or geometric. A flattering pixie for older women doesn't need to be edgy or rebellious. It just needs to listen to your face, enhance what you love, and quietly minimize what you don't. A little length around the ears, a curved neckline, soft lift at the crown, and delicate bangs. That's the formula to transform a pixie from tricky to terrific. In many people's minds, long hair is associated with femininity, gentleness, and youthful charm. That's why countless women keep their long locks for years, sometimes even decades, if it were an irreplaceable part of who they are. However, once we reach our 50s and beyond, both the body and facial structure begin to change naturally. At this stage, long, straight hair without layers might no longer be the faithful companion it once was. One of the biggest issues with long, one-length hair is its weight. The longer the hair, the more the weight gathers at the lower ends, particularly around the jawline, neck, and shoulders. This creates a visible downward pull. If you already have sagging jowls, a double chin, or looser skin around the neck, long, heavy hair will direct the viewer's gaze straight to those areas, the very ones you may wish to conceal. Instead of making your face look lighter, it can make your whole appearance feel weighed down and lifeless. Another downside of long, straight hair is its lack of movement. When hair is flat-ironed straight with no layers or natural bend, it can appear rigid and harsh. The face ends up being framed by two stiff curtains of hair, making it hard for the eye to move freely or appreciate softer facial features. As a result, features like hollow cheeks, jowls, or wrinkles around the mouth can stand out even more prominently. And if you're part of the many women who pair long hair with a center part, a classic styling choice, it can make things worse. A middle part draws a vertical line right down the face, and if there's no volume or layering around the cheeks or forehead, it can flatten the upper face, making the lower part, which usually shows more signs of aging, appear heavier and more prominent. This unbalanced proportion takes away from the natural harmony of the face. Many women hold on to their long hair because it feels familiar, because it has always been a part of how they identify themselves. But that same familiarity can blind them to the fact that their long hair might now be working against them. It may no longer make them look younger, it might even make them appear tired, drawn, or noticeably older. Most importantly, it might no longer make them feel happy or confident when they look in the mirror. Of course, this doesn't mean older women should give up on long hair entirely, but a one-length, pin-straight haircut, unless carefully tailored, can quickly become a burden rather than a crown. Long hair needs to be reimagined, customized to match the current face shape, and adjusted to provide softness, movement, and visual direction toward features you want to highlight, not hide. To put it simply, if you're still wearing long, heavy, straight hair purely out of habit or fear of change, it may be time to ask yourself, does this style still reflect who I am today? Or is it clinging to a version of myself that no longer feels true? If you're someone who truly loves long hair, who sees it as part of your identity, there's no need to abandon it. Long hair is not the problem. The key is wearing long hair the right way, in a way that brings softness, elegance, and support to a mature face. What truly matters is how long hair is cut, layered, and styled to harmonize with the natural changes that come with age. The first and most effective solution is to add light layers throughout your long hair. Start with gentle layering around the cheekbones, jawline, or slightly lower. These subtle layers create visual movement, helping to redirect the viewer's gaze away from the chin or neck areas that often show sagging or looser skin. Layering not only adds volume and bounce, but also softens the facial frame, making the overall look feel more balanced and lighter. Next, introduce a bit of natural movement into your hair. You don't need big, dramatic curls or a complicated styling routine, just a soft wave along the mid-lengths or a gentle curve at the ends is enough to wake up the face. Movement gives the hair a sense of life and flexibility, while also casting gentle shadows that can disguise minor imperfections around the cheeks or under the chin. As a result, your face appears more radiant and refreshed, no longer weighed down by heavy, straight strands. A major bonus is the fringe, especially a side-swept bang or curtain bangs. Bangs don't just cover a high forehead or fine lines, they play a vital role in lifting the face visually. When attention is drawn to the fringinier, the eyes and cheekbones, the viewer perceives your face through its liveliest features, your smile and your eyes. A soft, angled bang that brushes the outer eye or cheek naturally pulls focus to the center of your expression, rather than to the lower face where aging is more pronounced. Another small but powerful trick: slightly off-center parting instead of a middle part. A side part creates gentle asymmetry, which subtly tricks the eye and gives the face a more dynamic and relaxed appearance. In contrast, a center part tends to look more strict and flat, while emphasizing the forehead, something that may not be ideal for everyone in their 50s and beyond. Lastly, ask your stylist to lighten the weight at the ends. A soft V shape or gently tapered back can prevent long hair from looking heavy around the neck and shoulders. This subtle shaping helps your neck and shoulders breathe, creating an airier and more graceful overall silhouette. In short, yes, you can keep your long hair. You just need to let it evolve with your face and your age. A touch of layering, a side fringe, a few gentle waves, and thoughtful shaping. These small touches can transform your long hair into the perfect picture frame for your face today, mature, graceful, and full of vitality. Because beauty at this age doesn't come from holding on to the past, it comes from knowing how to refresh yourself with wisdom and love. Dear graceful women, you don't need a spa or a cosmetic clinic to look years younger. Sometimes, just the right hair tone that softens your features, conceals minor flaws, and highlights your strengths is all it takes to make people gasp at your refreshed, radiant appearance. We hope today's insights help you discover your soulmate hairstyle, the one that complements not only your face but your energy and personality as well. One that makes you feel at home every time you look in the mirror. A haircut that doesn't try to turn back time, but walks forward with it gracefully and confidently. If this content felt helpful or inspiring, don't forget to click like, share it with fellow women, friends, and loved ones, and subscribe to our channel for more timeless beauty tips tailored to natural, safe, and age-appropriate transformations. Remember, true beauty doesn't fade, it evolves. With a little care and a wise choice of hairstyle, you can continue to shine brightly, confidently, and authentically at any age. Stay beautiful, stay healthy, and stay full of life.